We just got a new tripod out.
Perfect. All right, now we'll call the meeting to order. Yes, it's got to do one. I'm sorry. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So I will roll call attendance. Tom Roche.
Here.
Ella Collins.
Here.
Amanda Durkee. Here. John Guglielmo.
Here.
Tim Clark.
Here.
And Taylor Boucher Buchanan. We typically would do an oath of office for the new board members, but since we did not have an election, we didn't bring anyone new on as of yet. So we're gonna skip that part. And our next section is the election of the board president and board vice president. So I will need nominations for president.
I nominate Tom Roche.
First time again, what a year? It's my last year, but.
I feel like we very important.
Give me a second, or?
Need a second.
Yeah. All right, I'll second.
Unless someone else is interested.
Nope. You go for it, my man.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Yes, you see
So
that.
now that I've seen the map, it looks like we'll do a roll call vote on that. I'm assuming that Tom can't vote.
I can.
You can vote on your own nomination? All right, I don't know the rules. I appreciate it. So, Tom.
Sure.
Ella? Yes. Amanda? Yes. John?
Yes.
And Jim?
Yes.
Perfect.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. And just remember, someone needs to get some of my knowledge this year because I'll be here next year. So. Well, during the year, we need to. Well, I don't know if that's gonna happen, but yeah. So, cool. Appreciate it.
Wanna do
Okay.
this now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
And you solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York.
and that I will fully discharge,
I will fully discharge,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
the duties of the position of board president,
the duties of the position of board president,
to which I am now assigned.
which I am now assigned.
Signature of,
Yes, so I'm the officer, yeah. There's the. Thank you much.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
And now it says that our board president can preside over the rest of the meeting, which I am very
Like that.
thankful for. I stole it.
Okay.
Oh, I was wondering why that was so thick.
It's not technically president, he doesn't get the
Yeah,
gavel
I
till
want
he
the
is.
gavel, till he gets the title. All right, thanks again, folks, I appreciate your needs. So now we need nominations for vice president.
I would like to nominate Ellen to the committee.
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Well, congratulations.
Why, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think so, just because we have 5, so just go right around the board, everybody said yes.
Sounds good. I didn't see them all, so.
All right, so I'm gonna give Ella the oath now.
Solemnly swear.
So I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York.
and I will fully discharge,
I will fully discharge,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
the duties of the position of the board vice president,
the duties of the position of the board vice president.
which I am now assigned.
Which I am now assigned.
Sign right there. Congratulations.
My brother-in-law, I feel like they're like forming into one person.
Thank you much. Yes, thank you very much. Okay. I've never seen this before, so.
So that is a new item, but I noticed that, in multiple districts, this is an item that they, do. And I consulted with, Rachel, Rossetto, who's helped me a lot with some of the additions that were requirements and helpful hints, because she's worked a lot with, district clerks. She did say that that is a typical thing that goes on agendas, so I thought I would add it.
Sounds good to me. I need a motion to accept tonight's agenda as presented, and remember, there's a new copy you guys have from 7:10. Don? Amanda? All in favor? Aye, all good. This agenda is now accepted. All right, so now we've got to do designation of committee members. We need 3 maximum. You can do an alternate. We're a smaller group now. Taylor's not here. I'm sure she's gonna want to sit on a few, and obviously we'll be electing another board member. So I think it's important that we get at least 2 people for a committee tonight, and then the next meeting we can kind of fit in the holes. So
Would the board be open to dissolving any of these? I was looking through and considering dissolving number 4 and number 7.
So
We didn't read it all.
What I kind of thought was as part of our retreat, when we do our board retreat, the workshop time, I think it'd be good for us to take a look at each of the committees and what the goals that we talked about previously, what the
Right.
goals are for each of the committees. And so I don't know if we could even wait to determine who would be on those committees. Well, no.
Well, I think we should do that, and then if we decide to merge committees or dissolve, we can do that at a later date.
all right, so we'll set the committees tonight
Yeah.
as we can, and then we'll go into retreat. We'll speak about the possibility of the next meeting reducing our committees to vote, and then go from there. How's that?
Yeah.
Talk about what's the purpose of each one and the goals and making sure we're
Yeah,
efficient with
Yeah,
our
there's something
time.
better.
Yeah, goals.
And then as I go through these, if they're gonna remain the same, let's just keep it going, we'll just remove.
Try it.
Change. But if someone does wanna pop on one that they're not on or something, just let me know. So right now, finance is Ella, myself, James is out, Amanda, you were an alternate, and Taylor is listed as an alternate. So right now, it's me and Ella. Amanda, you can move to the spot, you can do the first alternate. Want to do that? Okay, so we're gonna put Amanda on as the 3rd member, and then, we'll off of that. We'll just keep Taylor as the alternate, and then we'll move to the next one.
Sure.
We will do the loyalty oath at the end, maybe?
Sounds good.
Yeah, okay, once we get them all done. Curriculum instruction, Taylor, we're gonna remove James. We're gonna remove Christina. Amanda, you wanna stay? Sure. Okay, so Amanda's on there. Does anyone?
Yeah.
want to go on?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, so we're gonna put Tim on there as the 3rd. So all we need is an alternate once we get everybody together. Policy, we've got Amanda, Tim, Ella, myself, James comes off. I'm willing to drop from that.
What if we sit on as the alternate?
I can say I'm the alternate, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Is your name right there?
Perfect, so I'll be the alternate, and then it's Amanda, Tim, and Ella. Strategic Planning Committee, Tim, myself, Amanda, James comes off as the alternate. Let's leave that as is unless someone wants to drop, because that may be dropping anyway, so I'll keep it just as is.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Athletic, John, Christina's gotta come off, James has gotta come off, Taylor's on, so we can use another person on that committee. Anybody here wanna come in?
No, not really. Not really.
So we'll leave it
Not
open,
feeling it?
we'll leave it open.
We'll wait and
Taylor.
see.
Maybe Taylor will do it.
Well, Taylor is on
Taylor's
it.
Oh, that's right,
Maybe the
yeah.
new person would want to.
Possibly, yeah, that's it. And if we can't, I'll jump on, so.
Okay.
So we'll leave that as is for right now, just removing, Christina and James. Grievance negotiations, myself, Ella, and John. Does anyone want on that? Health, safety, buildings and grounds. Myself, Ella, Tim, and Taylor. I'm gonna come off of that one. It'll be Ella, Tim, and Taylor, but again, we're gonna discuss that one too, so. I might do something like this. Capital project. John, myself, Tim, James was the alternate. I think I'm only on 2 committees now, so I'll stay with that one.
And we're right. on that.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So that's that with the committee members. I'm not used to administering a loyalty oath, but that's been suggested that we do for the family members. So,
That's just for budget finance.
it's listed as budgets for every committee or just?
It is
finance?
just for audit committee.
Oh.
And just for that one specific, that budget finance audit. And it is technically a requirement. And I think it is, if anybody ever audits us, they would be looking for the audit committee to have the oath. So that is why it got added. So we will do that for Ella, Tom, and Amanda.
Oh, it's on Amanda, and then when Taylor is back, she's an alternate, so she's.
Yes.
Cool.
Can we do it as a group, or do we have to go one at a time?
Ah, we can do it.
We all stand and
Let's do that, I like it.
in
All right.
unison.
Everyone in unison after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will fully discharge, according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
the duties of the position of Audit Committee member,
the duties of the position of Audit Committee member. I remember that one.
to which I am now
To
assigned.
which I am now assigned.
Congratulations.
Signature of officers.
Right.
Ma'am?
Thank you.
All right, page 2.
Thank you.
Do any of these require, yes, loyalty oath for district clerk, clerk of the board, and loyalty oath for the clerk too, right? Okay, so, I'm gonna group them all, okay? Everybody good with that? So I need a motion for school district officers A through M.
I'll get that motion.
John,
Second.
A through M.
Oh,
And then like,
I see where,
We're talking 1A, 1M.
yes.
Yeah, under school district officers, actually, under 1, A through M. Yep. All in favor?
I,
Who are the motions?
John and then Tim.
John, and then Tim second.
Thank you, sorry.
No problem. So normally I would read all these things because it's important to say names publicly. I want people to know these things, but since we have a 9-page agenda tonight, but it's important to recognize that Casey is going to be our district clerk. Dr. Denali is going to be our clerk pro tem, and we do have to administer the board of people for right now, so we have that here. Casey, I'm going to do your position first. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will fully discharge,
and I will fully discharge,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
the duties of the position of district clerk,
the duties of the position of district clerk,
which I am now assigned.
to which I am now assigned.
Perfect. Congratulations. I'm gonna sign here. I guess someone signed it.
Sounds good. Do you want to do his? You want me to do his?
You want to do Richardson's?
All right. We are almost done with these.
All right.
I do solemnly
I
swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of this state of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will fully discharge,
and I will fully discharge,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
the duties of the position of clerk pro tem,
the duties of the position of clerk pro tem,
to which I am now assigned.
to which I am now assigned.
And we will always help you with these things.
Thank you. Somebody's gonna have to tell me.
We got your
who
back.
Clerk pro tem is.
One of us takes really good notes.
Yes.
We probably should have got the pro temp job.
You know which one is of us, no.
Because we all took it right to our standard,
Bless you.
There you go, man.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Moving right along. Okay, moving right along to B. School District Dignity Act Coordinators, Ms. Scotch and Ms. Russo. I need a motion.
For LeBaron.
Oh, gosh, I didn't see that. John Scotch, Deborah, so I need a motion for 1 and 2.
Motion?
Amanda and Tim? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Good. C. School District Title IX Coordinators Investigators for Erin Russo, Rachel Rosetto, and Ms. Russo again. So I need a motion for 1, 2, and 3.
Motion.
John,
Second.
Tim, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
D, School District Attorney. I need a motion for 1 and 2. Ella?
Second?
Amanda, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
School District Auditors. I need a motion for 1.
Motion.
John?
Second.
Tim, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
School District Physician. Appoint Hudson Headwaters as School District Physician for the 2023-2024 school year.
Motion?
Amanda?
Second.
John, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
School District Dentist, Hudson Headwaters as School District Dentist for the 2023-2024 school year.
Motion.
John?
Second.
Tim? All in favor?
Aye.
Good. School District Consultants, I need a motion for 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Motion.
Tim and Ella, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's much easier for me to see the motions now, rather than one little small group.
Nice, nicely organized.
All right. All right, other school district designees.
Steve,
Yes, so Steve has got a lot of designations here, so I need, other school district designees, 1A through G.
Motion?
Amanda? Ella? All in favor?
Aye.
Steve's an important guy, huh? Holy cow. Moving down to business office. I need a motion for A through G.
Motion.
Tim?
Second?
Amanda? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for all that stuff. Guidance. I need a motion for Ms. Scotch to be Substance Use Related Service Coordinator and the County Vendor Liaison. Ella?
Second.
Tim? All in favor?
Aye.
What is that? Substance use related services.
What? You want to start? Addiction services.
So is it use or abuse?
I think it's both.
Just clarify.
We are good, we got the whole motion.
Yeah.
Science, appoint Hillary Potter as Chemical Hygiene Officer, 23-24 school year.
Motion.
Tim, Amanda, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Administration, that's a big one. Dr. O'Malley, Erin, Dr. O'Malley, okay. Need a motion for administration A through G.
Motion.
Ella, Tim, any discussion? All in favor? I need Director of Pupil Services, A&B Joyce Long, Section 504 compliance, and Medicaid compliance officer. Ella? Amanda? All in favor? Designate official depositories. Oh, okay. Need a motion for 1 and 2. John? Amanda? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Moving on to annual policy review and adoption. I need a motion for A through G. Amanda?
Second.
Tim? Any discussion?
Is this something that we've done usually, or were you told we need to read
I was
out
told that we
Something-
need to readopt them annually.
Okay.
Yes, yep.
Thank you. And it's just, I'm sorry, one other question, just that, like, that chunk are the ones that once a year you re-adopt?
Yes. Yep, these very specific ones, is what I was told were part of, either a policy or education law, which I have a documentation that shows kind of where that points to, that you are supposed to just re-adopt these few.
So then will that, adoption date go on the actual policy?
I will double check with policy services
Okay.
on that.
Great,
I imagine, because actually all these things are something that could change year to year, so it's probably.
right, and we usually, each time we do something through the policy, that revision goes in. Yeah. Great, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
District safety plan was in our packets. Need a motion to open a 30-day comment period for district safety plan today, July 10th, and close the comment period on August 9th, required by 9/7. John?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just if we do have any questions or feedback about it, I'm assuming it could go to you, Casey, if it was something with the document itself, or to you, Rich, if it was more in-depth.
Yeah, I would, nothing. I would prefer me because I work as, it's right through Needham, our risk management service.
Got it,
So I've been working closely with them on the revisions and the new plan, so
wonderful.
any questions, please direct them to me.
Got
They just did a major update last year, right?
Correct, but this is something you have to do yearly.
Oh, it is, okay, all right.
it. Thank you.
And we have to have a hearing on that. What's that like?
What's the period?
Once that 30 days is up, we'll have hearings or any comments that I be brought to the meeting, or we'll have them at that point. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Time for all this meeting. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Good. Okay. Does anybody have any,
I do not have a second.
Nobody was successful.
I'm going to not read any comment sections.
Chris, sorry.
All right, board committee reports. Budget, finance, and audit committee met this evening. Everything is looking wonderful. Thank you for the work, folks. We are looking very good. Personnel grievance negotiation, and the meeting upcoming. I see that Amanda's working on the policy review.
Yeah, we do need to set a date for that for in July. I know Elliot said not to be the 17th. Correct. Okay. And then I didn't know, with it being summertime and it may not be an option, if we were able to do like a daytime meeting, our committees allowed to do daytime meetings?
Yeah, sure.
Are there days where you,
I'm gonna be gone the 17th, the 19th, the first, so July 19th. But then I can do Tuesdays, Thursdays,
I'll never see meeting out loud to if I don't schedule.
Good.
Yes, good. Thank you.
Any need for any other of these meetings to get together? And we see capital project now at 6:20, and our notes included in the board packets.
Yes, thank you for the notes on that.
Um, I'd like to have an athletic committee meeting sometime in August, prior to the fall season starting.
I agree.
So I wanna say, I think they start after the Regents exams, so they start on the 21st of August. So anytime before that point.
I don't know if we would do start the day in August as, I honestly, I like Mondays, possible, but it doesn't really matter. It just works for me. But Rich, you and I are the only ones here. Well,
The only other person's Taylor, so she's not here.
Let's see,
I would throw some out, maybe, and see.
yeah,
Is it something that you would be having fall coaches be part of, or is it just a?
no, I just wanna just see where our numbers are for fall, what we're rolling into, and kind of take a look and see what we're gonna do in the winter and all that sort of stuff.
so we've had some changes there, so, go ahead and pick the day out here.
But you said Monday,
Yeah.
Monday the 7th looks good for me,
All right, sounds good to me.
all right,
August?
Yep.
Do we have time for that?
what time you want?
Is 6 okay?
6 works.
You want to reach out to, Gaylor?
I will.
And if that's okay with her, if she needs to change the time, I'm cool with after, 5:30, 5:45.
You're up, sir.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, items since the last board meeting, obviously we wrapped up the year in June, our last board meeting was the 12th. Junior and senior high award ceremonies that we did during the day. There are discussions, just what people should know is that we're thinking about moving those award ceremonies and maybe those moving up ceremonies into the evening. So rather than during the school day. So we're thinking about that. I just want to put that out there now. I'd like to thank Greg Diefenbach for his service to our school. That ended at the end of June. I want to thank him for all his work in getting us through a lot of different times. And he was the one I started out with a year ago. So we thank Greg. He was done June 30th, and we had a little send off for him on June 20th. The pre-K graduation was down at the park with Riverjack Z. That was really well done. I really enjoyed that guy. I thought he did a really nice job. I would recommend him to anybody out there. Kindergarten graduation was great. 5th grade moving up ceremony was the same. The class of 23 had a graduation. We had to move it inside. And it was very well done. I was very impressed with everything and how it moved along, and with our alumni keynote speaker, very well done. Again, I would like to thank Mindy Gregory for her 26 years of service to the district, and again, James Donahue for his 5 years of board education services. Since the time, we did have interviews for some open positions, ELA, special ed, and school psych. We were able to fill ELA, we were able to fill special ed, and we did go with school psychologist at 0.6. Those people are up for approval for you tonight. Summer Learning Academy has started through K through 8, and it started July 5th. Attendance is about 80% for the last 2 days, and again, we start up again tomorrow. And summer credit recovery is also underway. I believe we had 17 students registered, and I'm not sure of the attendance on that, so I don't want to speak on term. Future items, board retreat date. I'd like us to have a board retreat date at some point. I don't know if we can do that now, or if we want to.
I will absolutely send dates out to everyone.
I would like to recommend another facilitator. I know Dr. Brooks did ours last year. I'm looking at Mr. Thomas Chaccio. He's the superintendent of Fonda, heavily involved in this, has done a lot of things there. Mr. Dr. Brooks, I think, was doing an interim at Squirrel Lake. So highly recommended. I think he'll do us well. The only thing is August 3rd through the 13th he'll be away, so we have to kind of figure something out. You'll be away as well?
Next one.
The 3rd through the 13th, or
Yeah.
maybe the 13th through?
13th through.
So basically, we're gonna have to
Probably
find
the
one.
third week in August, maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, So you're gonna take care of that?
I'll work it out.
Okay, all right. Our local historian, Paul McCarty, is gonna walk the annex building on Wednesday. Kind of take some measurements and start to move that along. We're gonna look to move that out, but I will tell you that storage here seems to be at a premium. So, I think that's something we should look into for a capital project, is try and build some storage units of some sort, or figure out expanding some storage, so we don't have a lot of it around. The mystery readers, they've been attended. We had one last week and we have one scheduled for this week. I can't tell you who they are because I don't want to ruin the surprise.
There's certainly mystery.
Yeah. The Strategic Planning Committee Forum for our BOCES. That's on the end of the month, on July 31st. It starts at 4 p.m. on Ballard Road. Everyone is invited to attend that, for that. There's a virtual safety event titled Functional Annexes and Tabletop Exercises, and that is on August 2nd that I'll be attending. August 1st, the new meadow rooms will begin setting them up for New York State inspection. So we'll be out of this room, so board meetings will take place probably in the auditorium or possibly in our cafeteria. We are redoing the cafeteria. It has new seating arrangements and new furniture that will be moved in before the start of the school year. Unified Bocce. We are going for Unified Bocce. I will be meeting with feeder reps in our LRS to come up with agreements in regards to stipends. And I'll get back to you on that. And that's all I have for my report.
Thank you. All right, next up, building principal report. Aaron's not here tonight. People services report.
Alright, so I gave you guys some information about the new classroom that we had proposed back in January. So that's what that little handout was about. So us being identified as a district with too many specifically Caucasian kids placed out of our building and classified, this is a move for us to be able to keep more kids at home to offer them programs. And by doing that, we're actually keeping 3 children who really want to stay here at Fort Edward, who love Fort Edward, are part of our community. They're going to get to stay here. And we also put it out to the county because everyone's looking for placements for their kids. And by doing that, I was able to get 3 more kids to come here. So basically, the program is a $200,000 income for us by saving and producing that amount. And we create a culture for kids that are similar to them, and they get more friends and more opportunities. To be able to make a good program here in-house, which is a move that we really want to be making. So that program is basically going to take care of itself, which is really nice. And we help out Hartford and we help out Argyle at the same time, which is really wonderful for us. Parents are thrilled about it. Otherwise, we would have been searching for something somewhere else, and if you haven't heard, the options in the county are horrific, if anything. And even the 3 kids that were taken from the other district, those kids were just getting home instruction for an hour a day with some extra related services. So now they're actually getting a program. Phyllis Cleveland has volunteered to take on the lead for this program. She's a 25-year veteran teacher. She's been teacher of the year, teacher of performing arts down in the South Carolinas. She is certified special ed K-12, literacy to birth to 6, and elementary K-6. So she has all of the bells and whistles, and she's super excited to take on this program and bring it to its next level. Because I'm sure once we get it off the ground and people want to come see us, it'll be one of the model programs for the county. So with your approval, I hope that we'll get that off and running for this coming September and go from there, because it's really a great opportunity.
Just a quick question. I would have expected materials to go up with that happening, but they've gone down considerably.
The materials, because we have all the materials here for the program. So we have furniture inside rooms, we have, she has 25 years worth of teacher materials, and if you guys know teachers, they are pretty good about hoarding and doing, and those kids are already accounted for in our building as typical kids, so their material will just go with them. I'm sure I'm gonna have to put a little bit of funding behind it for some differentiation skills and stuff, but maybe $1,000, nothing that's gonna be substantial. I can take that from my grants. That'll be really easy to manage.
60,000 savings already, so yeah, you're way ahead.
We're way ahead, and we get to take care of our kids here at home, which is wonderful. And that's why I gave you the other data too, behind there. Last year we had 28 kids out of our building. The first month I was here, BOCES shut down a program and I pulled 4 back into the building, which is wonderful, but for next year, we're gonna have 12 out of the building. It's a 50% decrease, and some of it is just attrition. A lot of kids moved last year, just happened to move in the right bucket, so I was very pleased about that. And we've built our life skills program here in-house, which has afforded us to bring back those kids. A couple kids graduated, so just attrition. I didn't, go and like drag anybody back screaming. They all wanted to come back and they were thrilled to be able to, not have those long bus rides and not have to be away from their programs and be away from their siblings and, their whole family. So parents are thrilled. So we are definitely heading in the right direction. For special education, we're down to about 80 kids next year classified, which is pretty phenomenal. We'll have the state here, eventually the state's gonna come with us being a targeted district because we are a school need of improvement for identification and placement, but we're already moving in the right direction. So I want them to see that data and see that we are definitely moving forward. But we do need to focus our attention on the children with emotional difficulties. That's our hardest population. Those are usually the kids that we can't manage. So building that capacity within and helping staff really learn to support those kids. So the 0.6 psychologist that's gonna be here, the full-time social worker that's gonna be here, we finally got all hands on deck, so that'll be a wonderful change. So maybe in another year, we can build capacity and talk about like a child like that. And then Prospect is our medically fragile group. Unfortunately, we have 7 kids sitting over there. There's nothing else for them until we build capacity here. We're just not there yet. Maybe in a couple of years, we can train people, find the right people, but right now, that's where those kids need to be. They're just profoundly impaired. But we're just naturally going in the right direction. It's working really well. And we're building programs, which is wonderful.
That's great.
Is the shared TA for the classroom, will that be shared between our district and the 2 that you mentioned?
Yes.
Or is it?
Yeah, between Argyle and us, so they're gonna take half the cost of that TA, which is wonderful.
Okay.
So that will help us.
Because you had mentioned Hartford in there as well.
Yeah, so Hartford has 1 child, Argyle has 2, actually
Okay.
3 total.
Gotcha.
There were other kids as well, but they were much more behavioral needs. I didn't think we were there yet.
Sure.
So we figured we'll start with the easy kids that just are developmentally delayed and just want to find a little family. And it'll give our friends here some more friends, because it's hard. They're kind of isolated programs and they have the adult to be their buddy. Now they'll have like a whole social network, which is really nice.
Where will this classroom be
So
located?
2nd floor of the elementary, at the far end, there's like a storage room that we've been able to use. We're gonna turn that around and make it our classroom. So, and our life skills program, we brought back 2 more kids into the building, which is wonderful for next year. So that's gonna embellish. I'd like to get that off and rolling. We're gonna have Kylie Wested as our new teacher for there next year. She has some great ideas. She's taught life skills children for many, many years, and she's got some ideas she really wants to jump off with. So I'm hoping by promoting that, we might even, advertise that as another option for some kids to come here and get, some more opportunities. Yeah, so it's really just working really well. Very pleased.
One of the things we talked about when we were
Yeah,
creating these
yes.
and it's exactly, it's being realized. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it's wonderful, and everyone's been so supportive and so helpful, and having the mental health providers here will make all the difference in the world.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah, people with good experience with the population as well.
Yes, yes, we kind of handpicked who we were gonna do, and I put it out there, say, who's interested, and Phil's like, I would love to run that, and Kylie too, she's like, I would love to run that, so we're right on target. We still have Sean at the lower level, so we're just growing, which is wonderful, and we're supporting that. We need that social worker, we need that psychologist for the behavior and the emotional support to really change how we deliver our services. So that's gonna be a mindset shift, and with the physical de-escalation and restraint training that's gonna probably be required by the time we get September, that will help as well, because then we can de-escalate kids verbally, and we need specific training in that, so that'll be.
Is that gonna be done in-house, or are you gonna send people out?
Well, I was
There's
so
no discussion in the region,
That's
quite
the region
frankly.
is across the board. We'd like to try to do it in-house, but you're talking, they haven't put a requirement on how long the de-escalation has to be. So that, could be a day thing, but the full physical restraint training is a 3-day event.
Oh, yeah, I know, my wife goes
Yeah.
there every year.
Right, so I have that, which is great, but you only want like a select team of people that have that, and we have a few right now, but we have to re-up that, and then, if the entire district has to be de-escalation trained, That's gonna be a whole scheduling,
I don't think we require the entire district, but it is specifically the staff that are working.
No, state ed is.
So state
rolling
is pushing for
new,
everybody.
They're.
Oh, they want
new regu-
everybody?
They're rolling new regulation out
Uh-huh.
into part, 19.
So we're doing all, so verbal de-escalation, you know,
Special ed.
write down the bus drivers, cafeteria workers, because sometimes how you react to a kid can escalate a situation rather than de-escalate it. So they want everybody to have the verbal, and then only a select team of people who work with the kids to have the physical component. So there's a couple of changes coming forward, and then also the fact that the parent, we always inform the parent the day of, we have the nurse checker, we do all those good things, but now the parent can actually have a copy of the incident report, which they have to have within 3 days if everything rolls out as they're planning.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of shift, but nothing that would surprise us. We've had a few kids who needed, you know, some hands-on support, and overall it's been okay. And we'll keep moving forward, but we're waiting for that update sooner.
The annual training requirement, the terminology is quite vague, and then it contradicts what the terminology is for some of the approved data-driven
Data interventions.
interventions to provide, so there's a lot of, but it's supposed to roll, and that's September.
Right, so we should hear something great this month.
Comment period closes in approximately 10 weeks.
Yeah. So once that happens, I'm sure I'll sit with Rich and we'll figure out a plan of how to target the specific groups first and then weed it out from there. But we're in good shape. We're really-
Also in our Board of Ed packets, and I don't know if it was in this one or when, there was going to be a meeting on the 28th, and then we didn't have that, from Pam Bordas, the regional associate.
Yes,
I
the
already
letter.
saw that, which, she came here to the district to meet with you, Joyce.
She
is
gave
that
you
correct?
information, yep.
And, you know, states that as a result of the review, determined that the district is compliant with the regulatory requirements included in the review protocol. No further action required by your district at this time. So that's,
It was huge, it was a lot
really
of work.
great.
Thank you so much. So we've now been taken off of 3 lists. We were identified for not performing our evaluations in a timely manner, so we now, Fort Edward, are evaluators. And we are also providers for the preschool, which is where our biggest problem was. So that is now resolved as well. And then we also have the audit resolved, which was huge, it's like 2 binders of craziness and sitting for hours. But we're off those lists, which is where the last thing to do is deal with the fact that we have too many kids out of the building. And you can see that we're already heading in that direction properly. I can't just all of a sudden say, oh, everybody just come on back and good luck. And some kids do need those more restrictive settings just because of the needs that they deliver. And, you know, we've got a couple on our radar that we're watching, but we're following all the proper protocols, we're doing our interventions, we're gathering our data, which can be hard for staff who have to live it every day, but we are doing that the right way. And I also gave everyone the transportation cost changes. We're gonna have a significant change there next year as well. Because the less kids that go out, the less kids that we're transporting, which is really nice. We were able to drop the run to Parsons, and we were able to drop a full-time Durham run. So we've got a couple $100,000 coming back to us that we weren't anticipating just by how it happened. And so far this summer, thanks to Steve, I appreciate you covering me this morning. Drives are going really well this summer. We have a lot less kids going out because they just didn't have the substantial regression. And then in September, most of them are gonna be coming here. And some of our typical kids that might need transportation, parents want them walking. They want them being a part of the environment. They want them learning how to cross the street. And that's been going well. We've been supporting them. And so far, you know, knock on wood, we have our few people out there, but substantially lower.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Next up, Steve, how are you, sir?
I'm great, how was everybody?
I'm great, Steve.
Busy time of year.
Got a great news to have for us today.
Yeah.
And since you were late for the reorg, we got a bunch of new roles for you.
Title, do
So-
Hey, Steve.
I'll tell you about it.
Late guys, good job.
Is this a leaders meeting? Were you loaded on?
Your analysis board.
It has been a very good, setting just for these couple of weeks that we've been working. We're actually working on 3rd floor while school was still kind of in session. With regents going on, the 3rd floor is not occupied, and so I like to jump the gun on a few things, and the teachers didn't mind us being around there doing work in the rooms while they're just, you know, checking grades and stuff like that. We had a conversation with them all, and so the guys were able to get some jumps going even before graduation, which is huge. So right now, we're working ahead of schedule, which is what I'd like to do, because as you know, Rich can seem to find other things that I need to do, so it's a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing I like to be on that side of the street. The couple of things that I'm looking at, and I really wanna work kind of closely with, is the boiler project they're almost ready to fire the boilers and get them up and running. They're very close to that right now. But in doing so, I've been working with a company called B&L Control. B&L Control they treat the water, which our system hasn't been treated in quite a long time. So what that does is, there's different chemicals, which I've got right here in 2 different forms that I'm gonna send to, what's the gentleman's name that had
I already took care of it for you. All set.
Yeah, well, I got the information on what's going on. Yeah.
No, I called B&L today, they sent me over the quote, and they sent me over the spec sheet on the chemicals. So I forwarded that all over, because that should be included in our building project, our emergency building project. So that work that he's talking about we'll get back 96 cents of the dollar on that one.
But if, in treating the pipes, I don't know, imagine you, Tom, remember seeing a great big old rusted pipe that came down from underneath. You smile on your face, yeah. You all looking at it like it came from the Titanic down at the bottom of the sea. And that's the kind of thing that's going in my mind right now, is we need to get the system cleaned and treated. The water, there are a lot of things that go into getting it clean. How I knew it was getting bad is the fact that I had some rooms when I was being the start tech guy myself. Starting the boiler, shutting them off, because we couldn't communicate with the system and everything. And some rooms where the valves were locking wide open. So with the valves, they're telling the valve to shut down because what the temperature in the room, so the valve is supposed to close. But when you have so much stuff in the line, the valves clog stuck, and then next thing you know, they won't shut. So you're going around the rooms and they're saying, my God, it's 85 degrees in here, you know, and you could just feel the heat coming out of the room. So I was working closely with some of the guys. That's when I first arrived on the scene, you know, and I was trying to get a handle on, you know, trying to regulate heat and keep everybody comfortable. So with this B&L thing, I think it's going to help the whole system. And get
Does that avoid replacing those valves? Does that clean everything out, or you still have to replace the valve?
It cleans everything out, but you also might have to go in and do some work on valves and things like that, because if the water hasn't been treated in so long with so much stuff in the pipes.
You won't know until it treats it and all the corrosion.
All that
goes
stuff
away, and all
comes,
the
yeah.
sediment. So does it also clear out the tubes? Well, because that can,
well, that's where my problem was. where
tubes are
many
bad, then.
many times we were getting into the uni vents and putting in and purging and hitting the lines and purging because we weren't getting any heat through the coils. The heat was there, but it wouldn't go through the coils because the coils are only this big.
Right.
And they get clogged. Then you have no heat in the room, so you have to try to keep purging, and all of a sudden it would break free, and then poof, you had a whole bunch of stuff coming out.
Hopefully that cures some of that.
Yes, and with the amount of money that we've spent on the boilers to get them up and running, the last thing you wanna do is have that crud going around. You know, and so I think it's very important to get that done. So with that being said, that's where I'm going with DNL and what I've gotta do, and I've got to work closely with Start Tech and them, because when they do this and they start running the product through the lines, Start Tech wants to be involved too. So that they can monitor what's going on with the valve and stuff. We're working on scrubbing floors, and like I said, we're ahead of schedule. Third floor is done, second floor is just about done, just got a couple more coats to put on halls. So we're doing good, so we're shifting now to elementary second floor. I've been working on, uni vents, cleaning, oiling, new filters, trying to get everything back up. They were pretty bad, so we're trying to get them back up to snuff, and get everything looking right there. Big thing, I gotta try to fit in here, which is a good thing, I'm a little bit ahead of schedule, because I got a feeling I'm gonna need some extra time, is the annex building is gonna be looked at. I've gotta figure out if I'm gonna get a dumpster over there, one of them big long cans to start pulling out that building. But there's a lot of things that I've gotta get with Ryan Herman on and Roy Sorty, and probably even you, Tom, because a lot of it has to do with clay material.
Stark too, a long time being involved in that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drama stuff over there.
Right, there's a lot of clay material, there's a lot of crown material that they were using for crowns and things, so we gotta figure that all out and figure if we can get rid of it, we should keep it, and if so, where we gotta store it, because our storage is limited. So that's all that we looked at probably this week.
Well, if you need to go over it with me, let's.
Sure, yeah, very much so, yeah. So that's that part, and, we made a big move today with, getting these guys, getting them, the business office moved down to the annex, down to the computer rack. I like it when- I like it. Sometimes I like them over that way, in a different building.
Yeah, there you go.
But then I'd have to walk farther to plead with them for money. That wouldn't work, so. But no, we made a good move today. They got a lot of reorganizing to do down there, but we made that move. There's gonna be a lot of moves, as Joyce said, with the second floor move. There's a lot of stuff up there in storage that's gotta be looked at, figured out what to do with. So I wanna get that hold out and then start the process of getting that room cleaned up, ready for preparation, so that these guys can take that room on. And New Meadows with all the new rooms going on there, that's gotta be looked at, and, them rooms have gotta be prepped, and of course, they gotta meet their specs on what they want, so paint or whatever's gotta happen there, and so we're looking at that too. But there's a lot more moves that's gotta be made yet within this next month or so, that's where we are, but that's a whole picture on what I'm looking at and what I'm trying to do, and of course, working with Rich and trying to figure things out, which avenues we should go with what, that's where we're at.
We appreciate it, sir. You and the team, we appreciate you guys for doing it.
No problem, you guys been working real hard.
I just want to chime in, I just want to thank them again for all the work they've been doing with moving and cleaning, because it's been really hot. We don't have AC in the building, only in certain places, and these guys are moving and shaking regardless of the heat. So you take a couple breaks in the AC areas, but they're moving. Also, just to piggyback on, remember the damage we had from the tree on the transportation garage? That has been fixed and repaired. Steve was right on top of that work. He was out there, guys gotta clean up these nails, gotta clean up the nails. It was all over him, he was really good. And we also have an AC unit that is down controlling our network, where our network kind of hub is. So yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So he's been getting fans and doing what he can to cool those off, because those big network towers full of computers and the fans are just running. So now you can imagine how bad it is.
68 degrees.
You got it. So we've been able to keep them cool with the fans, but again, we've been working with TBS, and we have that unit approved for fixing They sent us a quote, we're all set there, and we're also looking at doing some mild roof repairs. But the big thing that Steve told me that I think we should all be aware of is, once we get those chemicals running through the system and getting that, it could open up a whole another bag of worms on us, because you're gonna have some pipes that may not be able to handle those chemicals. So I'm just saying, we wanna do it, but there could be repercussions, so we just have to be aware of that.
It's kind of making me nervous.
But I just wanna give a heads up that, you get a text from me or something where, hey, we've got a water problem, we've got a pipe problem, it won't become a huge surprise to you.
When are we expecting to do that?
We're hoping to get it done I just got the quote today, shared it with Chris, we'll probably get that money flowing to them as soon as possible, and I'm hoping before school starts, that's the plan.
That would be the.
Yeah.
Because things have been, in certain areas, things have been let go for a long time, and that can hurt you. I mean, the things that they've discussed with me on it is oxygen in the water. Oxygen in the water is not good. That type of thing can start corrosion and things like that, and valves and stuff, so. That's the kind of thing that I'm saying, yes, we need to do this, but I'm kind of afraid to do it. We need to do this.
A couple people counting buckets just going in these spots.
Oh, and the other thing that I think we should mention too is just, Chris had an organization come in and do our asset, right? What was the term it was called?
That was just industrial appraisal.
Industrial appraisal. So basically what it is, the way I looked at it is, they come in and they assess what we're worth, kind of like, when they come and look at your house and they say, you're ready to sell your house, they come in and say, okay, well, you got this boiler, you got this roof, you got this asset, this is what your house is worth, it's in fair condition, it's in good condition, and this is what we're gonna insure your house for. Am I off the beat
That's
path there?
correct. And they also went all our fixed assets. So they went down and did everything that was tagged in. So we have a whole entire chart now of everything that we have.
But the big thing out of it was, Chris, if you remember,
Yep.
the building was rated as poor.
Yes.
The building was rated as poor. So, you're hearing what Steve just said and the fact that things have been neglected. We've got door heaters that are not working right. We have classrooms that some of those things aren't working right with heat and cooling. And then obviously having a poor condition review, it's just, we're really gonna have to look at what we need for this capital project and prioritize what we're gonna have to do. So that'll help us with what our prioritization is, what I'm saying.
They group both buildings together?
They actually broke down every single structure here. So the annex was very poor. The concession stand was very poor. And then they did the transportation, the bus garage, they did our building here, everything was rated, but everything was either poor or very poor.
It's
We
outstanding.
got you very poor to poor and poor to good.
Holy cow. I hate to be sarcastic, but I mean, at least we have a starting point.
Yes.
Correct.
You know what the
We're
nice thing,
going up, baby.
but you know what the nice thing about it, John, though, is that we're gonna look at that and it's gonna say, okay, here's
Here's
it's
where
gonna-
we are.
Yeah, but
We
it's
need to
gonna
know
tell
where
us,
we are.
it's gonna give us that, like you said though, the starting point. Okay, the roof is really bad. The wall, your plumbing, your HVAC really, I'm shooting at,
No,
but-
but you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You don't
Yes.
know, you have to know where you are, and sometimes it hurts to see it, but we've had our blinders on for how many years?
Well, I'm just curious though, because you put $4 million into the elementary, bringing up new windows and motion lighting and flooring and all that. How did that count in the appraisal? I mean, it was $4 million slated for one.
But I think as Rich said, because the roof needs major repairs, like,
the high school side.
yeah, there's a lot of other parts of the building that maybe that's been good, but there's other parts that drop it down.
No, I get it, but I didn't know if they kind of comment on the fact that we do a lot of work, bathrooms, everything else, and it was a pretty big upgrade, $4 million. What was that, 5 years ago? Maybe?
I think, yeah, because they gave the historical parts too. They showed you the different projects that we have, what they upgraded. They actually did a really good job breaking it all down. They gave a very good summary to each section.
It's about 180 pages, light reading. Right, wasn't
It was
it?
very, very
Yeah,
thorough,
about
yes.
180.
I think some of it is too, hindsight's always 20/20, but I think we've lacked in some preventative maintenance as well, and some upkeep, and, as things slip and they go, and before you know it, you're now in court.
It's not gonna get better all on its own.
But it'll we're heading in the right direction, you know, you have to know where you are and prioritize, and Rome wasn't built in a day, so.
It certainly was not, but it fell in just a couple of years, so you gotta remember that.
At least that's a good guide for us when we
It
start.
is, and it was actually, it was a good investment to get that, so we have a good starting point.
And the last thing, just another plug for my man Steve. He just does a great job at trying to fix things before throwing in the towel and calling in, like, let's buy new, let's do this. You know, he came into my, just a quick example, my AC unit in my conference room. It sounded like a jet engine. And before I had it assessed, they're like, you gotta replace it. And even the guy, Steve brought in the TVS guy, the guy's like, I think we're gonna have to replace it. Steve's like, hold on. Goes outside, goes this, zip tied a couple things, smooth as butter.
I love those zip ties.
Smooth as butter. I was like, oh my God, I've been living like this for a year. And it was like, cause it's so funny, you have a meeting in there and it goes off and you're like, you're talking, and all of a sudden it shuts down and you're like, wow, that thing really is loud. Now I don't even notice it.
Don't let the students hear that, because they'll go back and cut his.
I have superpowers, you know.
But I mean, it's just nice where
You
he's,
heard that, Steve.
it's just nice where he wants to take her with it first before like really spending the district's money. So I just appreciate that about it.
Thanks a lot, Steve, we really appreciate everything you do,
Thanks.
seriously.
Yeah.
I think for discussion items, I think we're gonna
You can skip it.
table A. Yearly retreat, we talked about that, we're gonna get some dates for that. Let's talk about the school improvement coordinator.
Yes, sir. I gave a couple handouts on that. Now I can't find them, but I think the one was on, let's see. Yep, I'm gonna share that with you. Yep. So what we did basically was, I asked them the duties to include on the left, assist with discipline, character ed in the elementary, positivity project 6 through 12. Because PBIS 6 through 12 is pretty tough, it's a secondary level, but we really want to get some things going in that direction. I know in our last interviews with the school psych, that was a high priority as well. Assist with supervisory duties. We want to create an attendance task force and do a PBIS reward system for attendance, not just going on knocking on the doors of people who aren't coming, but what about those kids that are coming? What about those groups that make growth? We need to do something with those students. Instructional quotient and testing 3 through 8 and coordinator. These were just some of the duties. And it allows administrators to focus on, and you can read these things, but strategic planning, family outreach. And for what I would say is, my biggest thing is, the coordinator for school improvement will allow Erin to stretch her wings in the instructional leadership realm. Right now, all she does, and same with Joyce, is they're just tamping out the fires. You know, they're just able to manage the building. We're just not, we're getting at a point with, I think we have a great team here. You know, I really, really do. And we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and together we're pretty good. But with what Erin's doing is she's just running around, she's staying here until 8, 9, 10 o'clock. I'm sure you see the car here. And it would just give her room to breathe and maybe even stay those hours, but do things that she's able to move the building forward academically. Am I making sense a little bit?
Yeah, so I don't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
And this isn't the first time that, you know, we've gone through the fire statement out thing. Where are these fires coming from? Is there anybody else that is responsible or able to stamp out these fires? Or is it every time something comes up, we're taking the phone up and calling for help?
I think,
Because,
you know,
that's, you know, we've all seen in different walks of life how that happens. You know, I don't want to deal with someone called Tom, because Tom's my boss. I can deal with it. You know, so how much of that is happening?
I gotta be honest, I don't know if there's a lot of.
Huge school.
Sorry, go ahead.
You know, we're not dealing with a huge school with tremendous amount of really bad problems. We have basic problems, attendance, some discipline. In my mind, I don't see where it should be that bad.
Well, you have one administrator pre-K to 12 for about 300, what we do the enrollment today, what was it, 364.
Right.
So, you know, you look at larger schools, they'll have more administrators, but if you break it down, they're probably about the same,
About the same ratio.
and they're running around too. So, but the thing is that they are able to section off, whether it's middle school, high school, and elementary, she has all three.
Right.
And basically, let me just answer your question. I don't think that there's problems that the teachers are just throwing at Erin. I mean, you hear the radio, it's coming from the main office, it's coming from a social worker, or it's coming from the elementary, or it's coming, you know, going to the high school to deal with things that the teachers have already done the 1, 2, 3 strikes, or done the, you know, or even just, it's a little above their pay grade where they don't know an answer to, or how to deal with it. So, now that I've lived it a year, I guess I don't feel that there are things that she's getting called for that people are just brushing off.
And there are things that the principal has to deal with when it's a code of conduct issue and the student has been written up as they need to be written up for a discipline referral. You know, that's not for a teacher or somebody else to deal with, that's for the principal to deal with. And then with that, she has to follow up with the student, she has to follow up with the paperwork, she has to follow up with the parent, she has to make sure that it's getting entered into the system. So there's, with discipline alone, and, you know, I don't think that we, as the Board of Ed, can assess, we're not in that day-to-day grind of none of it's really a big deal. There's a lot of stuff.
Well, that's why I'm asking the question. So my question was just simply, are there things that people can take care of at a root level that don't escalate to the point where she has to get involved? And if so, why isn't that happening?
I don't think they're, so I'm gonna answer.
And you may be, and I may be off base.
Yeah,
But I just.
I'm gonna say no, I don't,
You know.
there aren't things that teachers aren't handling that should not go to the principal. I think that's the way to say it. And, you know, let's not forget, she's not only dealing with discipline. I mean, when you talk
She's
about,
dealing with a whole lot of stuff.
when you talk about ordering tests, like that's a whole thing in itself. You have to do your enrollment, then you have to train the staff, and those are yearly things. Then you have to count the tests out, then you have to make sure that they're being monitored correctly. Then you have to gather them, put them in a packet, then you have to send them out for scoring. I mean, it's a huge amount of time. And then let's not forget all the teacher evaluations that she has to do as well. And then along with just your day-to-day, hey, let's do a field trip here. Hey, I've got a question about this thing in my classroom going on. So there's just a lot of stuff.
I also look at it a little differently, as not so much as Erin's being on burden, which I'm quite sure she is. It's a tough job, but anything we can do to add, you know, many hands make light work. Anything we can do to add, and we have, fortunately, the ability to do so right now.
Oh, it was perfect.
I think that makes anything, because right now, we're moving great, we're making great strides. George talked about some things we're doing financially, we're doing great. If we could add someone to inch some of these programs along and get us from here, maybe just a little tick up, I see that as a great opportunity right now.
It certainly is a great opportunity. I just want to make sure that that opportunity is realized and is being used effectively.
And I guarantee you we will.
So can I just clarify a couple of pieces? So what we're looking at doing is creating this position of coordinator for school improvement, which would be a teacher on special assignments, a teacher obviously coming out of the classroom to oversee and have these duties that they have here. With that though, typically, Fort Edward, and I'm not even sure if we did this year or not, but Fort Edward has not even indicated who the elementary students will have for a teacher until late in August because we are such a transient population. So with that, I just caution, or I just say, I hope that the door stays open for conversations. I see that there are 2 sections that are close in number. Grade 2 is at 22, grade 5 is at 24. I also, so this is twofold, making sure that we're watching numbers, but also watching needs within those. And I'm not going to pretend to know who, but you may have a section of 22 who has some, 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 22 who difficult students, and that is not the one that you would want to. So I see that things are indicated as this would be the one section, these would be the two sections. I would just, at this point, if things have not been set, and nothing's been set in stone because nothing's been approved, but I think keeping those doors open and those conversations open to make sure that those conversations are being had, that it's not just about the number. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that number can shift quickly here in Fort Edward with it being that transient population. Do I think that all of a sudden, grade 3 is going to absorb 5 more students? I don't know, no, probably not, but is it possible? Yes, and if that happens, what's the then? Because you know that that's not going to be acceptable to have a number, too large also. So there's that piece with just monitoring those enrollment numbers and the needs. And then the other piece that I wanted to clarify also is, I believe, with a TOSA assignment, it's if we were to move forward with it, it's a 1-year approval, is that correct? Okay, because the other piece of this that I think is so important as we're moving forward, I think this is a great opportunity for what we have in the here and now. I think it's so important though for us as we're moving forward to keep monitoring these numbers, monitoring the needs, monitoring retirements, monitoring, we have a new social worker coming on staff, new school psych coming on staff, school resource officer, all of the 3 administrators who had to spend this first year really getting to know who are my people, who are my district, what's, all of those pieces. Now you're heading in to year 2 with a good knowledge base of those other pieces. So I just want it to be something that is continually evaluated. And I think I would, as a board member, I would appreciate, and I know that you guys will do this anyways, but updates, just kind of with regards to, because it may also be as you're in it, duties are not fitting the way we've laid it out, and duties are shifting, and so now this is what the TOSA is focusing on, and so some updates here and there. It doesn't have to be a monthly thing, I'm not looking for anything specific, but just some updates with regards to how it's all playing out. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Something we can do, right? Give us updates.
We'll continue to keep it fluid. We'll
Yeah.
continue to keep it, what do they call it?
An assessment, just
Yes.
a continual
Yeah.
kind of assessment of how it's going, what's working, what's not, what are our needs, all of those pieces, yeah.
Keep it as like a working document.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Okay.
And we've been proactive. The group
Yes.
at 2nd grade, I have some special needs kids in that, so I know there's extra TA support already set up there to support that teacher. So we've kind of strategically planned our life as well, knowing that that could be, not a typical class. So we have that as well.
Any other concerns about it? John, great point, Amanda, great points. I mean, we don't want to do something that is just to,
We don't do things just.
but there's got to be a purpose behind things, there's got to be a function and a benefit. So I agree to all that, absolutely.
Our attendance, with this, obviously, should improve at the end of the year or mid-year. Our grades should improve, our graduation rate should improve. So, our standing in the school should and needs to come up. And if this is the way to do it, then we need to make sure that that is what we're using as person.
It's the goal.
If not, Steve's gonna put a zip tie on.
He's in. But, we can, everything looks good on paper until, the rubber meets the road. When the rubber meets the road, the data doesn't lie. So,
Anything else on that topic? All right, let's move to the SRO.
Just that we just want to make sure we're all set. I kind of distributed the contracts and the roles and the responsibilities and the duties. That basically we don't approve the creation of the position, we approve the contract we have with Washington County. So right now, they do not have a pool of applicants for it. I don't think they're calling it an SRO now, they call it something different.
SPO.
SPO. Yeah, so there's not a school pool of applicants, and they're not going to be going.
Special patrol officer.
Thank you. Special patrol officer, and they're not going to put out a blanket until we say we want. So I guess I know it's a discussion item, but I guess I'm looking for permission to move forward and have them start looking and creating a contract.
Is it consensus or a vote?
I guess a consensus to move forward because you'd approve the contract. So if you really didn't want it, you could not approve the contract.
All right, consensus, folks. Moving forward with this thing?
I think we should.
I do not want to do it. I don't think it's worth the money. I think it's more of a window dressing position, it's not gonna have a big impact on the security.
It's only not worth the money. Something doesn't make.
No. I'm in the business, so I've got
If
to
something happens,
respectfully disagree. I think
Hindsight
it
should
does,
not be
does help
20/20.
secure the buildings, it really does. I mean, if I'm a guy looking to do something, I might not go if I know there's an SRO in there. It's just the way it goes. You've seen deterrence with school security in a big way, especially in, inner city schools. Schools that have security and SROs don't have the same type of problems that ones that don't have it, or at least they're not responded to the same way. So there's definitely a benefit if you read some security magazines and some different topics on school security. There's a lot of good information out there that shows it's beneficial, and they tend to integrate themselves into the school. So, Christmas time, they're high-fiving the kids when they're coming across, and the kids are getting to a little bit more respect when it comes to policing and law enforcement. That's kind of starts to happen inside some of the schools. So I think it's a wonderful thing. Hopefully, he never has to be used in the capacity that he's trained to be in. But I think having an SRO is just a great thing for a school. And again, when a school can afford it, and right now it seems we're in that position that we can.
Or shoot.
Or she, sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd like to
Okay, but
share.
we're looking at asking the district to bust the tax cap in a couple of years. Like, would you ask them to bust the tax cap for an SRO? Like, is that important?
Yeah, I think it is.
I'm speaking to me, I'm a security professional, so I'm always gonna say yes to that question.
Well, what would they have done to the mass flooding, with the mass flooding incident we had, back in November? Like, what would the SRO do to help us respond to that type
I
of?
think we might do a little bit more investigating on our part, might talk to some people about it, but that's something that didn't happen
They can't
per
stop
se
that.
right here. No, you're never gonna, you can't stop bomb threats either, you can't stop things that aren't, but he can stop an intruder. He can stop someone coming in that front door trying to cause harm to our pupils as students. He can do those things, and those are the things that, when you look back at incidents that have taken place, make the difference in how many people walk out of here and how many people don't. So, I'm one of those people who just leans towards, I'd rather, when we have an opportunity to protect our kids, I think that's what we do. Just my opinion.
And my experience for my career at Johnsburg School, when they had started to look into whether they were going to do a school resource officer or not, the board had done a Google survey of some sort and was asking parents and the staff for feedback. And at that time, actually, I had said I didn't feel that it was necessary. I felt safe in the building. I felt very strongly that if somebody was going to permeate hate anywhere, they're going to permeate their hate, whether there's a resource officer or not. And so, in my opinion, at that time, I felt that it was not necessary. I felt we were safe. They needed to implement a few different things with regards to the front entrance and things along those lines. They did move forward with getting a school resource officer. I can't tell you for sure how many years he's been there, at least 2, maybe 3. It's COVID time, could be 5 years, I don't know, he's been there 3 years now. And I have to tell you that as a day-to-day functioning thing, I really appreciate having him there. There are times when I'm responding to a crisis situation as somebody works within that building with a student. He may not even be necessarily responding, but he is my backup person. He is my person that is there. There are students that interact with him to get advice about various things, and he is part of our school community. He is patrolling regularly through the halls. So I do, just as my own personal experience, when as an employee, I originally was like, we don't need to do this, we're safe, we're up in North Creek, we're good, we're fine. And now that he is there, he is part of our building, and I appreciate having him there on the day-to-day. as part of a lot of our committees when we're chatting about, the safety of the school or, we're talking about crisis response, right at the end of the school year. He was part of that meeting as well. So,
Those are all good things, that I would rather have a 0.5 social worker or 0.5 officer do it.
I'm gonna tell you something. The social worker is not gonna stop an armed intruder. Not. Two
SROs
schools that I
rarely do it
recruited
well.
in Kentucky, each had school shootings. Neither one had a security officer.
And SRO returning fire is extremely rare for them to do it.
I'm not gonna change your mind, Tim, and I'm not gonna try to. I'm just gonna say that I agree with you and I think we should have.
Excuse me a second, August.
So Ella, this topic was brought up, I think like 2 meetings ago, and Ella asked a bunch of her classmates about the SRO. And the kids are all on board with it. They actually want an SRO in the school. When she talked to all the high schoolers, they would actually like to have one in the school. They were all for it. When she brought this topic.
Aaron deals with every day also.
Yeah, I mean, so, if that, I mean, and it also brings, a lot of these kids, I mean, I work in Hudson Falls, but a lot of these kids don't get the best interactions with police officers on a day-to-day basis outside of the building. This gives them a good interaction with them inside the building. So when you have these little kids that see their parents sometimes hauled off to jail or whatever's happening, they are getting excellent interactions inside the building with this person that they know that is a good person behind the badge and not to be scared of them. So, I mean, but I do know that the kids inside this building do want it,
You know, we
that they
appreciate
are all for it.
Thank you for that.
And I would like to just add quickly that, you know, what I do at the end of the day during the year, there were several times this year that I needed to have an administrator or a sheriff's officer outside of that building with me because I didn't feel safe and I didn't feel it was a safe environment for kids maybe leaving the building without that person there. So me, personally, would love to have that position.
I mean, things can get volatile very quickly. An expert and professional can tell you that. And that volatility is extremely dangerous. And if somebody decides that they're gonna harm people, they're gonna harm as many as they can, quickly as they can, having a resource officer would at least, very least, serve as a deterrent for somebody to either come in and do it at pickup or, you know, whatever, or a game. I just think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a waste of money by any means. I think that I would hate to be the person that said, geez, you know, if we only had somebody, maybe this might happen.
But again, it's all good points, Tim, your point about, you know, how we apply the limited funds we have and how that position serves. It's a great point about social work as well. And maybe down the road, we add to that, those positions as well. But I think right now in front of us is this opportunity for the SRO. I think that's what we're talking about.
Is it a full-time position?
So I think we have a 4-to-1 consensus, is that what we're at?
I think so.
and the other thing I'll say too is, the questions that you asked, at last month's board meeting and then
Oh, great.
at the end, and then email to Rich were great questions to provide the clarifying points on a lot of it. And I appreciate the Washington County Sheriff's Office, the documents that they attached in the email. So I would say also with that, if anybody in the public that's listening, if they do have questions, to reach out to you, Rich, because you do have those documents that do explain the job description and then the specifics of all of it.
But thank you everyone for feedback, it's important, it's an important topic, there's no doubt about it. So you got your consensus, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Moving right along, consent agenda. Can I have a motion for A through E of the consent agenda?
Motion.
Tim and Ella, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. F, I need a motion to approve the 2023-2024 board meeting schedule as included in our packets.
Motion.
You wanna go? Yeah. Motion, John? You said,
I motion.
Tim and John, okay, any discussion?
Yeah, what is the July 2024 date? It's usually the second Monday, and that's like the first day of the month.
So the reorg meeting, based on a chart that I got from NICEAG, your reorg meeting should be the first Tuesday of July, unless it falls on a holiday, then it should be the first Wednesday, but you do also have the first 10 days to hold it. So if you wanted to change that to the Monday instead, I just went with the first Tuesday as that was what NICEAG recommends.
Let's do that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Budget. The only one I see I have an issue with is the next meeting, I won't be around for the next meeting. Other than that, all looks good to me. I don't know how everybody else is doing. As long as we've got. You guys wanna move it, or you wanna keep it straight?
Do the week after. I couldn't do the week before, but we out of town the week before, but the week after.
Correct. Let's do the first. The 21st, okay with everyone?
Yeah.
August?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Alright, so we got two motions on the table. The motion's gonna be amended by, we're amending the date of August 14th to August 21st.
I can tell you I won't be able to attend that July 2nd reorganizational meeting, we're always out of town that week, but we can always
What, you got
change
time
it
to
a
move
little
that?
bit
We got
closer
time.
is what I'm thinking, yeah.
Alright, so with that change, done, Tim and John, all in favor?
Aye.
Good. Okay, that was right. I need a motion for G through,
No, the CoStar is no longer.
It's no longer what?
it's no longer print.
It's all
Only certain
digital.
days a week.
Does it have to be print?
Is it? No, I thought it was done.
3 days a week. Started tomorrow.
Oh, is it still?
I thought it was gonna be all done.
So we need G through.
If you go to G.
Oh, I'm sorry, so we need G and then H, 1 through 6, that's what I meant.
Motion.
Second.
Amanda, all in favor?
Aye.
Alright, we did one there a couple of times, so
It's okay.
catching up to Steve. Okay, I need a motion to approve the base non-resident individual tuition rates as follows. Additional charges for additional service are allowed and required by law will affect a final non-resident tuition billed on a case-by-case basis. Tuition subject to change, the final numbers come out late August, September. K through 6, 2519, K through 6 special education, 10,134. 7 through 12 regular education, 6,199, and 7 through 12 special education, $12,814.
Motion.
That's done. All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion for J.
Can we just go to O, because I.
Yes, so J through O, please.
Motion on those.
Tim, Amanda, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Good. All right. All right. I need a motion for F regarding district level administrative coverage as written on the agenda.
That's item P, right?
Yeah, Pete, right?
Sorry.
Love your eye exam.
That is, what did I say?
That's
That-
I didn't deny it. It looks like an F, okay.
Somebody in this
I
company
just
got a
need
great
longer
raise.
arms, that's all. Wow. Okay, yes, that is Pete, thank you for the correction, oh my God. So as read, district level administration coverage for item P.
Motion.
Amanda, any discussion?
I just had a question, as to why the day-to-day operations would be temporary transferred to District of People Personnel Services instead of going to the building principal first, just if there was any reasoning for it being that title. And I'm not looking at person, I'm looking at title, why we're going to Director of People Personnel Services before we move to the building principal.
So directors usually come with their district level certification. Building level only usually has building level certification. So as Director of Pupil Services, ours has district level certification, the building administrator does not. So in the event, if something happens to me, the district would be covered through certifications in my absence with Director of Pupil Services.
Yep, thank you for the clarification.
All in favor?
I,
Q, it's definitely a Q, right? It's Q. And it's a motion to on the resolution, building level administration coverage as written on the agenda.
Motion.
Ella and Tim, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. R, I need a motion for that resolution as written on the agenda. John?
Second.
Tim, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. I need a motion for S as written. John?
Second.
Tim, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion for T as written.
Because I'm speaking, because you're shaking your head.
Oh, is that me?
You did
Worried about my
that
eyesight.
recording in the
Yeah,
chair.
okay, I'm nervous about my eyesight. So I need a motion for T as written on the agenda.
Motion.
Amanda?
Second.
Tim? Any discussion?
Just that 6 hours. I was surprised it wasn't 7.
We just have to establish at least the 6 hours for the civil service, and that is as it relates to their retirement system. So they have to, we have to put that in with the 6 hours, because it's something to do with the calculation of their retirement hours.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving to personnel consent agenda. All appointments subject to change, compensation, proration pending emergency school closing, require reduction in force, all coaching appointments are made pending completion, verification of more required coaching credentials, with the stipend for FETA contract commensurate with experience, and no other salary or benefits. All coaching and extracurricular appointments are subject to reduction in compensation proration, pending final student enrollment numbers and pending the outcome of any potential mergers and emergency school closings.
I don't see any serious changes. What we discussed previously.
Everybody's okay with going through?
I had, yes, I'm good with grouping them, I just have 2 questions about 2 separate ones. So do we motion them first and then I do the questions, or?
I'm worried if we have to table, then I have to do
I don't-
everything again.
Oh. So my only one is on N, the effective date from July 10th to February 13th. It just seemed like an odd ending date for a mentor. We just don't know why we're ending on February 13th.
That is a good point.
Yep, so it's 1 year from the start date of the person that she was mentoring. So the person that she started in February at 13 of last year. So we just wanted to make sure that we were noting that she's only getting paid through the full year mentoring someone.
Okay, great. And then the one other question that I had was on you for the YAC advisor, for the per season. That's only if a sport is done in that season, like we only did the bowling, is that correct? And so it would only be if there's something going on within that season, is that right?
No, like, so for example, if we added basketball,
Okay,
then she would get for that season as well.
okay,
So if we add, so whatever season it's in,
okay.
Yeah.
But is only getting that stipend if there is something occurring
Correct.
within that season? Okay.
but usually with unified sports, you have to have a YAC associated
Yes.
with your team.
Yes, okay, I just wanted to, because that piece is new for us.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure. That was the only questions I had. Thank you.
If there's no others, then I'm gonna ask for a motion for personnel consent agenda A through DD. John and Ella?
No, my Ella motion, I'll second.
Ella and John. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone who's on this list, we appreciate your service there. Moving to coaching consent agendas. Anything I need to,
I will, it makes it a little tricky, but
Oh.
when I don't have to, legally I can vote when it is for my husband, but I'm going to abstain.
Okay, so
So you
I'll-
have 4. So A, F, and U. So,
let's
Sorry.
do, no, that's
I
fine.
know.
Let's do,
Sorry.
So I need a motion to appoint Jeff Durkee as modified football coach effective July 10 at a rate of $4,344 scale C, year 6 per the feet of contract. Need a motion?
Motion.
John,
Second.
Tim, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and we have one abstaining. And that, okay. I need a motion for B through E. John,
Second.
Tim, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We're on that. I need a motion. I need a motion for F to appoint Jeff Durkee as varsity baseball coach July 10th for $4,800.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, one abstaining. Okay. I need a motion for G through T. John?
Second.
Tim? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion for U. John? Tim? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Alright. Thank you to all those folks who are stepping up in those positions. Those positions have become very important. We still have some vacancies and some things, so it's really cool if these folks are stepping up there. All right, what's that? All right, action items. I need a motion to approve the following resolution to ratify the memorandum of agreement by and between the Fort Edward Union Free School District and Fort Edward Union Free School District Support Staff Organization dated June 16, 23 for a successor collective bargaining agreement dated July 1, 21 through June 30, 2024. Amanda and Ella, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for everyone who worked on that and everyone agreed to that, thank you. I need a motion to approve the following. Resolution to ratify the memorandum of agreement by and between the Fort Edward Union Free School District and the Fort Edward Administrators Association dated June 23rd, 23 for a successor collective bargaining agreement dated July 1, 2022 through June 30, 2025. Your motion.
Motion.
Tim. John. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you again, everyone involved with that as well. Resolution to approve the addendum for secretary to the superintendent dated June 28, 2023. Amanda? Ella? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. I need a motion for D as written on the agenda. John?
Second.
Amanda? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to, the following resolution. Board of Education hereby creates the following positions effective June 28, 2023. One special education teacher, one teacher assistant, one teacher aide, one school improvement coordinator. Need a motion. John?
Second.
Tim? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion for, that's a biggie. I need a motion for F as written on the agenda.
Make a motion.
Ella? John? Any discussion?
They're great. They're
All in favor?
Aye.
Accept, motion to accept the generous donation of a Tormac 770M CNC milling machine valued at $31,947.20 from the Fort Edward Teachers Association. Any motion? John? Tim? Any discussion? Thank you very much, yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Need a motion for H through L. John?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? All right, we're halfway through, folks.
You guys gotta stay.
You guys are doing great. I mean, I'm impressed right now.
Let's see.
As long as Mr. Ferguson's impressed.
Personnel, I need to accept, first to accept letter of resignation from Rebecca Babakwa as speech language pathologist effective August 31, 2023.
Motion.
Tim? John? Any discussion? With regret. All in favor?
Aye.
Accept letter of resignation from Catherine Briscoe as school nurse effective July 20, 2023.
Motion.
Tim? Amanda? Any discussion? Mr. Rock? Bill? Good. All in favor? Yes, all in favor. Sorry, I'm reading and making sure we have letters right. C, I need to accept a letter of resignation from Christina Limson Harvey as ELA teacher effective June 26, 2023.
Motion.
Tim?
Second.
Amanda?
Shortest.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, say that out loud.
Okay, need a motion to appoint Toby Bissett as clerk effective July 10th at a rate of $29,537.37 as per the FESS contract.
Motion.
Tim? John? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, Toby's back. Appoint Catherine Trainer as transportation coordinator effective July 10, 2023 at a rate of $27.50 as per the FES contract. Ella and John, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Appoint Catherine Murphy as summer school speech pathologist effective July 1, 2023 at a rate of $45.64 per hour as per the FETA contract. Amber. Amanda, I can't even pronounce names right. This is
Started
short
with the right
meeting.
letter. You're good. It's good.
Uh,
It's all good.
Amanda,
Should read
It's
your
close.
name.
one second,
It's close.
please. Who seconded? Anybody second? John? All in, any discussion? All in favor? You sure you guys want to be present this year?
Just to read these for you, Tom?
We're all good.
Can we go back to the beginning with
Okay, F is good. G, appoint Teresa Ames as substitute bus driver effective June 28, 23 at a rate of $18.47 as per the FESS contract. John?
Second.
Tim? Any discussion? All in favor?
Can I just make a couple of quick comments? I wanted to go back to, the few that you are appointing for the best contract, so the one that you just did for Toby, this one for Teresa, the next one for Teresa, those are the rates as per the old best contract. When I did this, obviously the best contract had not been done. We didn't have it, it was just approved tonight, so those are numbers based on the old one, not the new one that you just approved.
All right, so you're all comfortable
Would be with
keeping it
current
as is with the current, and the current contract will be?
Yes.
So,
You had John and Tim for G.
for G, Jonathan, Virginia, G, thank you for that discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
H, I need to appoint Teresa Ames as substitute bus aide effective June 28 at the new rate for the FESS contract, which will be added to the minutes later.
Second?
Amanda? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, motion to appoint Abigail Urchak as 1.0 ELA teacher tenure track effective August 1, 23 at a rate of $48,498, step 1 MA for the FETA contract.
Motion?
Amanda and John. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Appoint Megan Whitbrick as .6 school psychologist, tenure track effective August 7, 23 at a rate of $60,231, step 11, masters plus 30 for the FETA contract.
Motion.
Amanda.
Second.
Tim. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And, okay. Appoint Allison Dix as a 1.0 special education teacher, tenure track effective September 1st, 2023 at a rate of $48,526, step 2 MA for the FETA contract.
Motion.
Tim. Amanda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome everyone, thank you to everyone who's been here. Okay, wow. Any public comments?
No.
My daughter-in-law is here.
It's fine.
That's all I don't want.
Perfect.
So no second public comment period, so I need a motion to enter into executive session to discuss matters referring to negotiations with a specific entity, as well as the employment of specific individuals. John?
Second.
Tim? Board of Education members, other individuals invited to executive session are reminded that all matters discussed during executive session must be kept in strict confidence. All in favor?
Aye.
Heading
Thanks
to
for your
exec.
input.